Miss Kristi here, and I am so excited to be together again cooking in the kitchen. Today we are learning how to make green goddess juice. This breakfast juice uses 6 healthy ingredients that we blend together for 30 seconds, and we will make 1 large tasty glass of juice. We're gonna have fun making this together today, and I'm so glad you're here.
All is calm and all is bright tonight.
Now, the first step to cooking and working in the kitchen is to wash our hands. While I wash my hands with soap and warm water for at least 20 seconds, let's go over the ingredients and supplies that you'll need to gather to cook along today. The ingredients you'll need are 1 green apple, 1 banana, 1 cup of spinach, 1 cup of cold water, 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, and 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. The supplies you'll need are a blender, liquid measuring cup, 1 cup dry measuring cup, 1 tablespoon, and a butter knife. Okay, great. Your hands are clean and my hands are clean. We've gathered our ingredients and supplies, so let's get started making our green goddess juice. This is just a quick juice that we can blend up. It's got a lot of ingredients, so it's gonna give you some fiber, give you some nutrients, keep you full. So I just think it's a great juice to learn to make. The very first thing we're gonna need to do is take your blender top, whatever your blender looks like, and we're gonna put it right in front of us because everything's gonna go right inside. So I wanna have that near me. So I'm gonna take the top off of mine. Maybe mine looks a little bit different, but as long as you have your canister for your blender, you're gonna put that near you. And now we just need to start with our ingredients. The first thing we're going to do then is take your green apple. The green apple is a little bit more sour, so that's why this recipe calls for a green apple. But if you have just a red apple, you could use that as well. So I'm gonna use my green apple, and you wanna make sure it's been cleaned. So you rinsed it under water, you dried it off with a paper towel or a towel. We wanna use a clean apple because we are gonna use the skin. We wanna make sure that all the stuff is washed off of it. So my apple is clean. I'm gonna put that right in front of me, and then I'm also going to grab my butter knife. Now you can use a sharper knife if you feel comfortable. I'm just using a butter knife because it's a little bit safer and I can still cut my apple. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm going to cut this up into small chunks so that we can do 1 cup of apple. How I cut my apple, just to make it easy, is I just make a little line all the way around the core. I'm just doing 4 lines, 1 on each side of the core. That's just a guide, so I know where to cut my apple. And now I'm just gonna cut one side off. I'm holding it carefully with one hand. All right, so I have one side, and I'm just gonna do that all the way around. I found my little line. Cutting around the core. There's another side. We might not use all 4 sides, and then you can just eat your apple, but that's why we're gonna measure it in just a minute. And then the last side. All right, so you can throw your core away. Now I'm just gonna take this and cut this into chunks. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're all gonna blend it, so I'm just cutting chunks carefully, watching my fingers. I'm gonna cut a couple chunks, and then I'm gonna grab my dry measuring cup. So making sure that my fingers are nowhere near my butter knife. I'm just cutting the pieces that we just cut off into small chunks. Now I am gonna grab my 1 cup dry measuring cup because we need 1 cup of diced green apple. So I'm gonna take my 1 cup, it just says the 1 on it. Now I'm gonna start popping some of these in here so I know exactly how much I need. I need a little bit more, it's not completely full. The same thing with this, I'm just cutting my apple into chunks. And this is the longest part of this juice recipe. Cutting up our apple. And then let's pop it in. And if you have a little bit extra, it's okay. You don't want to go too much over because then your juice will get too thick. But I think that's about good. So now I'll save this other half and eat it. Don't throw it away, put it to use, but we only need 1 cup of diced green apple, and then I'm just going to put that right into the bottom of my blender container. You can set your 1 cup to the side. This dry measuring cup, we're done with that. Actually, no, we're gonna keep it for our spinach, so put it right next to you. And now grab your banana. All I'm gonna do is take my butter knife again and cut my banana right in half. And then And in goes the banana into the blender. I'm just gonna peel aside, push it out. Cutting it in half just helps to blend it up a little bit easier. Makes peeling it easier because it's already partially peeled. All right, so we have one banana. It's not frozen. You could use a frozen banana. It would make your juice more of a smoothie consistency, but because I'm using a fresh banana, that's what makes it more juice-like. So I've got half a banana in there. Now we do need that 1 cup dry measuring cup, so grab that, and your spinach leaves. So we need 1 cup of spinach leaves in our juice. And trust me, you don't even taste it, but it's gonna give you some extra fiber and nutrients, which is why I like to add it in there. It's gonna help you keep you full a little bit longer from just drinking a juice, and you don't even taste it. So 1 cup, so I'm just taking my spinach leaves and filling my cup up. All right, I'll do a little bit more. So 1 big cup of spinach leaves. You can put any extra that you have to the side. And now I'm just gonna put this in here as well. Okay. If any fall out, just go ahead. If your blade is in there, just be very careful when you put things in. My blade is on the top of my blender, so I don't have anything sharp in here, but if your blade is in there, just make sure that when you're putting your hands in, that you're being very, very careful to get your ingredients in the side. Now you can put this to the side because we are done with that. Next, we need 1 cup of cold water. So what you need to do now is grab your liquid measuring cup, and all I'm gonna do is head to my faucet and fill this up to the 1 cup line. So it's that very top line that says 1 cup. We need 1 cup of cold water. You wanna make sure it's cold because nothing else in our juice is cold. This is what's gonna make it cold enough to drink. We can always pop some ice cubes in it at the end if you don't think it's cold enough. But I'm gonna put 1 cup of cold water in here, and then we will pour it right into our juice. All right, once you have your cup filled, I always like to just set it down on a level surface and make sure that we have our correct measurement. Sometimes if you're holding it and you're measuring things, it's not exactly a cup, but this is pretty spot on. I've got 1 cup of cold water, and I'm just gonna pour this right into my blender container. You can put your liquid measuring cup aside, that's all we needed that for. And now you want to grab your peanut butter. So we need 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. It's gonna give us an extra protein, help with the flavor. Grab your 1 tablespoon. So this is the only one that we're using that looks like this today. It says 1 TBSP. And we need to measure 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, or you could use almond butter, you could use sun butter, you could use crunchy peanut butter if you really wanted. I'm using a creamy peanut butter because it turns into juice. I don't really want chunks in my juice, but if you only have creamy or crunchy peanut butter at your house, you could use crunchy too. So here's 1 big tablespoon, and we're gonna do 1 more tablespoon. So 2 big tablespoons of peanut butter into our blender container. Keep your tablespoon next to you because we're gonna use that next. You can put your extra peanut butter aside, but now we need to grab our maple syrup, and we need 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. So this is just the same tablespoon we just used. It says 1 TBSP. We are going to measure 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. This helps sweeten it up. This is what makes it so you don't taste the spinach. It's just a good natural sweetener. So we're doing 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. So this is like real maple syrup. It's not necessarily like pancake syrup that you might get in a plastic bottle. I'm using real maple syrup. You could use honey too. You could do 1 tablespoon of honey if you don't like maple syrup or you don't have it in your kitchen. All right, now you can put your tablespoon to the side. We are done with that. And you can put your maple syrup to the side because now we just need to blend this. So what I'm going to do is put on my top of my blender, very important. If we blend it without a top, it will go everywhere. So put your top on your blender. And now I need to plug my blender in. So I'm plugging my blender in, making sure it's on, and we just need to blend this for 30 seconds. So you can set a 30-second timer, you can count to 30, which is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna give this a blend for 30 seconds, and then we will pour it into a glass. All right, friends, so that was about 30 seconds. I'm going to unplug my blender because I don't want it to accidentally go off. So when you're done, unplug your blender. We're gonna take this off. And from here, I have a glass. All we're gonna do is pour it in. Like I said, if you try it and it's not quite cold enough, you could pop a couple ice cubes in there to cool it down. If you used very cold water from your faucet or your refrigerator, then it should be cool enough. But I can see that everything was blended nicely. There wasn't any frozen ingredients, so it blends up really quickly, which is why we just need 30 seconds. And from here, I'm just going to pour it in. And like I said, this makes enough for one large glass. We used 6 ingredients. We only had to blend it for a couple seconds. And now we have this great, healthy breakfast juice. It's got those good ingredients in there, so it's gonna keep you full, give you a bit of energy. It's got protein from the peanut butter, fiber from that spinach. So I just think this is a really great juice option to try for breakfast, maybe an afternoon snack. And now we know how to make it for ourselves. So I hope you try and make it, or try and make it again. And when you do, let me know how it goes. Leave me a comment, let me know if you have any questions. You can even send me a picture of how your green goddess juice turned out. I'd love to get to see your creation, and maybe we can share it next week. Speaking of next week, on next week's episode, which is episode 63, we are learning how to make the perfect pancakes for one. These pancakes use 7 ingredients, most of which we have in our kitchen. They cook on our stovetop or griddle for just 5 minutes, and we will make 3 perfect size pancakes. In order to cook along and make our perfect size pancakes for one, these are the ingredients that you'll need to have in your kitchen for next week. 1 cup of flour, 1 egg, 3/4 cup of milk, half a tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and cooking spray. Well, friends, our time together today is almost over. I do hope you've enjoyed learning how to make our green goddess juice. I know I had fun, and I already can't wait to cook together again next time. But before you say goodbye to this episode, make sure to click subscribe if you haven't already. You just have to click the little picture of me in the corner. That way you don't miss next week's episode. It'll be out on Friday, and I'll see you then. Bye, friends. It's time to drink.